Hi, it's Grace. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. So, just over the my screen of my computer here into my backyard, I have little French doors that open onto this cute little backyard, and I just saw this bunny, a wild bunny. A little family of wild bunnies is living under my shed, and it scampered like it was just eating clover pleasantly, just enjoying the little summer afternoon. I was watching this little brown bunny, and all of a sudden it got startled, and it just took off like a blast and went diving around the corner, like screeching, 60 miles an hour around the corner of the shed. We all know this, what it looks like when a rabbit suddenly gets startled, little animal, and, it's almost funny. It doesn't feel so good when you feel like that rabbit on the inside. And often, I have felt many times in my life like there's this startle or trigger, or I'm threatened, or I'm nervous or worried. It's called fear. Fear comes in all different shapes and sizes and all different flavors and nuances. It's almost as if there can be a volume button, 10 being terror, nightmare, outrage, like the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. 1 is just a little mild anxiety. Well, most of us have only experienced a little bit of number 10, but there's a lot maybe of 1, 2, or 3 level fear, anxious, irritated, um, sad, rejected, angry, annoyed, nervous. The smallest things can be, have a sense of a trigger in them and can produce fear. Fear, for me, is really the key. That is the entry point. That is the key for understanding anything that I'm doing that is a stressful experience, like overeating. Eating when I'm not hungry. Emotionally eating. We say emotional eating. It's fear eating. Really, if you just had to boil it down to something so simple, eating because you're afraid of something. Drinking because you're afraid. Smoking because you're afraid. All these compulsive behaviors are avoiding fear. I mean, it seemed like, eating would work well because I'd reach for sweet things and soothing and comforting and, you know, nice flavors and things that, sort of grounds you in a way to eat something. At least it seems like that. The problem is, when it moves over the line into now you're hurting yourself, you're eating too much, and you're stuffing yourself. And the trouble is, the fear is still not handled. Now you have yourself and the thing that scared you, and you have overeating on top of that. And you kind of forget, you feel so bad about the overeating or the eating in the first place, or you've just changed the channel and you're not really addressing that thing that bothers you so much. So, because that's going on and you've moved away from this thing that you feel afraid of, that part provides some relief, but the thing is still there, unexamined, uninvestigated, not really addressed, unresolved. Brain will start going into trying to solve the problem of that thing that happened. Often I would find it was interactions with other people, a sense of being, anything in my reality, but especially human beings, that caused some kind of unrest or rejection or nervousness or felt threatening in some way. I know it's not only human beings that feel threatening to people. There's natural disasters and there's all kinds of things that go on that seem scary in life. And they're all worthy of investigation. So a fabulous exercise is to sit and to consider in any situation you have, even if it's a tiny little mild anxiety, all the way to kind of a heavier anger. What are you afraid of? So not that long ago, I had the experience. It was just like that little bunny rabbit outside. I had a friend on email. So if you think about what is it like when you're reading an email, the room is completely silent. Not that much is actually going on. But the meaning of the words coming out at me, I took very seriously. This friend was really upset that I was not meeting her for a meal. She felt like I was ignoring her, not paying up enough attention, and this had been a complaint that was going, I gathered, for a while. And I said, no, I cannot meet you today. She was sort of like, I demand that you meet me, we get together. I need to discuss this with you, and I'm having a hard time with our relationship, and it needs to get resolved today. Well, I had clients scheduled, and I was working. We can't do it today. I'm sorry. I'm going to percolate on this. I need to figure out how I'm going to work with this. And just let it sit inside of me. Because I felt really, really like kind of controlled and like triggered and definitely threatened. She was going to force me into a meeting with her, and I was not going to be forced. And I had this feeling that that bunny had outside, like I wanted to scamper and run around and lock my door and hide and never see her again. I mean, that was really an alive and real thing. And I knew what to do because I had a little pitter-patting heart, was to begin to write down what's the worst that could happen. I feel like she's overpowering me. She's trying to run my life. She's demanding. She's too demanding. She's needy. All these things came to appear on paper. Then I could sit and I could begin to question them. I noticed that I had been completely safe. It was just difficult interaction with another person who really, really cares about me and really wants to spend time. Somebody who is just, they love me and they want to spend time with me. And I can still say no. They're having a hard time with my no. I can say no. And because I'm over there and I'm addressing that, not running away, making them a wrong person for being the way they are, it's almost like I get to deal with the situations directly. I don't have to go eat anything or drink anything or smoke anything to handle the situation better. The situation's getting handled. It's okay. And this feeling of compulsion is not alive because there's not a need in this fear to quick get away from the fear. Anything but feel afraid. Let's get to safety. Let's get to high ground. Run for your life. None of that's present. It's really wonderful. And that's what inquiry can bring. I just find, even if you have like a triggered reaction, so like I said, I felt like my heart beating, and I felt like on the inside, like I looked like that bunny that just raced away for whatever reason. It heard a noise. I could sit and I could write all my thoughts out, write them all down. What am I most afraid of? What do I want to have happen instead? What do I think should be happening that isn't, or shouldn't be happening that is? What do I need from this person in order to actually be happy instead of nervous or want them to get out of my life? What would I need if I could really bring myself happiness? You know, describing them, seeing what I see through my glasses, who I see, which isn't really true, isn't really real. It's just my version. But I'm scared. It's the main thing I notice is I am scared. And I can take a deep breath and I can start to ask questions, self-inquiring questions. Is this true, what I am perceiving with this person? Are they really coming to get me? Are they coming to knock on my door and demanding that I speak to them right now? No, the house was quiet. I was perfectly safe. Who would I be without that story? That I am threatened by this human being. Who would I be without that story at all? That I'm ever seriously threatened? Can I notice the safety? Is there safety in my life, in every relationship, in what's going on? Can I notice the safety rather than what's scary? I notice when my focus becomes safety, that it's safe already, that I have no control over whatever's going to happen, and I'm not the doer here. There's sort of a surrendered feeling. And I like in nature, a friend of mine shared with me once, when one animal, a larger animal that eats these kinds of animals, scampers and grabs it, before the smaller animal that's about to be eaten dies, but often when it knows it's going to die, it just goes limp. You know, when there's nothing else to do and the whole thing's done and there's no more racing away, you just go limp. And there is something amazing about that moment. And that moment You do not ever want to be compulsive. You don't want to do addictive behavior because you just go limp, you're just relaxed. Let everything be done as it's done. Let everything unfold the way it's unfolding. Notice the safety in the situation, with this relationship, with this person, with this thing, with this reality. Notice how safe it is. The safer, the more you notice your own safety, the less you need to be compulsive about anything.